This is one of Korea's most popular stews. It's comforting, savory, and packed with umami. A bit salty, but pairs perfectly with a warm bowl of steamed rice. Even though its main ingredient is steeped in tradition and history, this stew is simply everyday Korean home cooking. Today we're plating up Doenjang Jjigae, or Doenjang stew with beef brisket. This classic Korean stew can be more simple and easy to make. You just take a little doenjang, mix in a little broth or water, add whatever vegetables and proteins you have, and you're done. It's like Korea's first instant food hack before instant food was even a thing. But I've got a couple tricks to make this simple stew simply more amazing. First, since this dish goes perfectly with rice, I'm going to show you how to make Ssal-tteumul. Trust me, you'll see. Then I'll also show you how to make a traditional and flavorful dashima. You'll learn how to bloom your doenjang to unlock even more flavor. And finally, we'll add some beef brisket or chabolbagi to make a proper feast. If you're Korean, you may even think this is better than your mom's. But oh my God, do not let her hear you say that. Before we start cooking, let's clear up a couple things, because I'm sure some of you are asking, John, what's doenjang? Doenjang's origin stretches as far back as the Three Kingdoms period, when Korea was separated into three distinct kingdoms, Gochugaru, Baekje, and Silla. Today, we finally narrowed it down to just two. Progress. Given its history, the best way to think of doenjang is like Japanese miso's older, yet lesser known brother. If they were both guitar amps, doenjang would be like Nigel Tufnell's amp.
If you can see, the numbers all go to 11.
Fortunately, most Asian stores carry doenjang, and Korean markets will have even more variety. Some brands include other ingredients, such as wheat or koji, to kind of cheat the fermentation process. And some are already flavored, so you just add water and you have an instant jjigae. I'm using a traditional fermented doenjang made from just water, soybeans, salt, and alcohol. So if your next question is, John, can I just use miso instead? If you still can't get your hands on doenjang, you can simply use equal parts of red and white miso. But just understand, your jjigae won't hit 11. And some Koreans may question its authenticity. But with so many Koreans getting cosmetic surgery these days, those Koreans may not be 100% authentic either. I know this was a long-winded explanation, but honestly, I have a little pet peeve with the English translation of fermented soybean paste. Some things just don't translate well. It'd be like calling pâté de foie gras the ground up fattened liver of a forcibly gorged duck or goose. You know, that actually sounds really terrible. And it's gonna fill my belly with regret next time I eat it. And it definitely sounds worse than fermented soybean paste, but hopefully you get my point. So let's just agree to call this doenjang, and let's start cooking. If you're enjoying this video so far, I'd really appreciate if you hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps me and the channel. Thank you, and 감사합니다. As I mentioned, this dish goes hand in hand with rice. And the first thing you should always do when making rice is wash and drain it 3 times. No more, no less, or you'll insult your ancestors. Washing rice is just a way to get rid of dust and foreign particles. Some suggest washing your rice until the water runs clear to get rid of excess starch. But since rice is a starch, I think we all have better ways to spend our precious time on this mortal coil. Now, here's a well-seasoned cook's tip. Save the water from your third rinse. Koreans use this starchy rice water, called Ssal-tteumul, to add extra body and subtle flavor to their stews and soups. A lot like Italians do with pasta water. Unlike Italians, Koreans even use this rice water as a skincare treatment. Now, reserve 2 cups of your beauty water, as we'll be using that to make an anchovy kelp broth later called Myeolchi-dasima-yuksu in Korean. You'll need some dried kelp called dashima in Korean or kombu in Japanese. Don't worry, that white powdery stuff you see on it isn't mold and won't get you arrested, but is comprised of naturally occurring glutamates, essentially what I like to call magical seasoning goodness, or MSG. If you have a Mr. Clean complex, just take a dry cloth or paper towel and gently wipe it to remove any dust or foreign particles. It's an incredible flavor enhancer, so please do not wash it off, as that would be criminal. You'll also need 5 large dried anchovies. You'll often find these dried anchovies in the frozen section of your local Asian market. And that's the best way to store it in your own home. Whenever you take some out and use some, put the rest back into the freezer and they'll keep much, much longer. First, you'll want to clean the anchovies. Otherwise, they'll just add bitterness and unpleasant flavors to your broth. Plus, it's just gross. Pop off their heads. And then I just use my fingernail to start splitting them down their belly. And you can see their black innards should come out really, really easily. This next step is optional, but if you toast the cleaned anchovies over medium heat in a dry pan for 30 seconds, it'll remove some of the fishiness. Finally, add the water, the anchovies, and sea kelp to a pot over medium heat. Now, if you've got more patience and time than me, I'd recommend letting your anchovies and sea kelp steep in the rice water for half an hour to an hour. It's totally optional, but it can only do it good. Ideally, you never want to boil dashima or kombu, as it releases some bitterness and slime that'll cloud your beautiful broth. You generally want to remove it once you see little bubbles starting to form on the bottom of the pot, as well as on the kombu, letting you know the temperature's reached about 140 degrees Fahrenheit to 150 degrees Fahrenheit. Unfortunately, because we're using Ssal-tteumul, the water's cloudy and it's going to be difficult to see those bubbles, which is why I recommend using a thermometer. I have an infrared thermometer, which lets me monitor and check the temperature and pull out the kombu at the perfect time. Now, if you don't have a thermometer, that's okay. Generally, I can tell I've reached the right temperature when my kombu starts to float and I start to see a little bit of bubbles or foam on the top. Even if you go to the boiling point, so long as you take the kombu out as soon as you possibly can, you'll be fine. Now, I've seen Koreans and Japanese boil the hell out of this stuff. So if they're okay doing it, you'll be okay as well. Once it comes to a boil, feel free to skim off any foam, then turn down the heat to low and allow the anchovies to simmer for about 5 minutes. Then strain. The evil online empire sells both dried anchovies and sea kelp if you want to try making this yourself. You can also find instant dashima or dashi if you prefer to go that route. And if fish isn't your thing, feel free to substitute with beef broth, chicken broth, or even vegetable. Just make sure to use a low sodium version, as the doenjang can be a bit salty. All right, let's quickly go over the ingredients you're going to need to assemble your Doenjang Jjigae. So we've got 2 cups of that anchovy kelp stock that we made. We're going to need at least 2 to 2.5 tablespoons of doenjang. Now, general rule, whether it's doenjang or miso, is 1 tablespoon per cup of water. You can add more or less depending on your taste. To step up our jjigae, we're going to use chado or chadolbagi, which is just thinly sliced beef brisket, the kind you often find at Korean barbecues and hot pot restaurants. We have 4 ounces and I've just cut them in half. Now, if you can't get your hands on thinly sliced beef brisket, don't worry about it. You can use any other cut of beef. I recommend something fatty like chuck ribeye, or skirt. Cut them into small bite-sized pieces, no thicker than 1/4 inch, or you can substitute with any other protein of your preference. Common choices in Korea are going to be pork or shellfish like clams and prawns. But hey, you can even completely omit the animal protein and use mushrooms like king oyster or shiitake, or just double down on the tofu. In this bowl, there's 1 clove of garlic that's been finely grated on a microplane and an equal amount of ginger. Now, if you don't have a microplane, you can just finely mince them. There's also 1 teaspoon of gochugaru and 1 teaspoon of gochujang. We have 1 teaspoon of dashita or beef bouillon. We have 1 teaspoon of sugar, half a small onion that's been cut into a 1/2 inch dice, half a Yukon Gold potato that's been cut into 1/4 inch slices, a little less than half a zucchini that's also been cut in half and into 1/4 inch slices. Now here I have about 1/4 of a block of tofu, or tubu in Korean, that I've just sliced into roughly 1/4 inch slices. To save the rest of your tofu, put it in a clean container filled with water, and it'll keep up to a week, so long as you change the water daily. We have about 1 ounce of enoki mushrooms. Now, enoki mushrooms might be a little challenging to find, so feel free to just substitute with some shiitake mushrooms and slice them thinly. I was going to buy a huge Korean green onion, but since most of you won't be able to get your hands on one, I'm just using a regular one from the grocery store, cut into about 1/4 inch slices. And finally, I've got some mild green Korean chilies and some red jalapenos for garnish. For the green chilies, you can substitute with green bell peppers, Hatch, Anaheim, banana, or shishito peppers. If you don't like a lot of spice, use a red bell pepper instead of the red jalapeno. Either way, this is totally optional. Normally, I would just cook this dish in my tteokbagi, which is just a Korean earthenware cooking vessel. Now, since most of you probably don't have one, I'm going to use a stainless steel pot to show you it really doesn't make any difference. Now, there are a couple advantages of using a tteokbagi though. One, it holds its heat really well, which is why it's served at Korean restaurants bubbling like a witch's cauldron. And 2, since you can not only cook in it, but also serve in it, it's one less thing to wash. Let's turn our flame to about medium low and let our pan warm up. Once it's warm, add about a teaspoon of oil. Once your oil's hot, feel free to add your beef. We're gonna let that cook for about a minute. Make sure you stir it around. We're not looking for a hard sear. We're just looking for it to render some of its fat for flavor. Let's add our doenjang. Now, most online recipes and cooking videos usually just tell you to add your doenjang to the warm broth. But here's a well-seasoned cook's tip. Bloom your doenjang. Letting it fry a little bit with the beef will help remove some of its moisture as well as concentrate its flavor. Give that about 2 minutes. Make sure you're constantly stirring. You don't want it to sit there, stick, and then burn. Now you can see there's a little sticking on the bottom, which is okay. So long as it's not burning, you're fine. So after 2 minutes, now let's add our garlic, our ginger, our gochugaru, and our gochujang. Oh, you can already smell all those flavors starting to meld together. Now you only need to cook this for about 30 seconds. You definitely don't want your peppers to burn or the garlic. Now we can just add the broth. Make sure that you're getting any of those stuck bits off the bottom. Add the sugar and the dashita. Now turn your heat up to high, and once it comes to a boil, we'll reduce the heat to low. Cover and let simmer for about 10 minutes. Can you believe it? My jjigae turned my stainless steel pot into a tteokbagi. That's how you know this is a legit recipe.
Do not take me for some conjurer of cheap tricks.
Sorry, I had to change from the stainless steel pot to the duck baggie because of the show. But that doesn't mean you have to, or that your Doenjang Jjigae will come out any different. Shall we take a look? Looking good. All those flavors have been playing nice. Now it's time to add our onions, and let's add our potatoes. Now we'll let those simmer uncovered on medium to medium-low for about 5 minutes. Don't be afraid to lower the heat if it's bubbling too aggressively. After the 5 minutes, add in your zucchini. Gently mix it around. Add in your tofu. And your mushrooms. And we're gonna let that cook for about 2 to 3 minutes. All right, 2 minutes are up. All that's left to do is add the green onions and the chili peppers. So I think it's that time. I've been dying for this moment. Now, there's no technically right way or wrong way to eat your jjigae. I'm gonna move things around a little bit, try a little bit of that broth. That is phenomenal. It's savory, it's earthy, it has a great salinity. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab one of those pieces of tofu, grab a couple of these vegetables, a little bit of the potatoes, a little zucchini. I have some mushrooms dangling there. I'm just gonna put this over my rice. And I'm gonna go in with my chopsticks and hunt down a piece of that brisket. Grab a little bit of that broth and just pour it over everything. There's a little something for everybody. There's meat, there's potatoes, there's vegetables, there's tofu, there's mushrooms, there's onions. Since I'm a meat and potatoes kind of guy, I've got my perfect bite. You know, this really takes me back to when I was a kid growing up in Korea. You know, after a long day of helping my father out in the rice paddies, my mom would always have a steaming hot pot of Doenjang Jjigae waiting at home to restore my tired body and spirit. Sorry, that never actually happened. I grew up on an army base, and I was a fat little kid. I don't think I would have been well suited for a life of manual labor. Fortunately, like me, you can enjoy this Doenjang Jjigae no matter what your background or time of day. You know, Koreans will eat this for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. I think just because, one, it really is so easy to put together, and two, it really is so comforting. I think there's only one thing that can make this even better, and that's a nice glass of soju. If you made it this far in the video, thank you. And as always, I hope you liked this video, and more importantly, this recipe. If you did, I hope you'll consider hitting that like, subscribe, and bell notification. And until next time, eat well and be well. And here's to wishing you many more memorable food adventures. I'm gonna need another bowl of rice.